I'm Anil Kumar. In this video, I'm going to discuss exterior angles of a triangle in details. There are basically two key things to remember. One is that sum of exterior angles of a triangle is 360 degrees. Sum of exterior angles of a triangle is 360 degrees. And the second one is that the exterior angle is always equal to the sum of remote interior angles. Let's try to understand these two rules and then we'll move forward to take up some examples. So what I'm trying to say here is that if I make a triangle, let's say something like this. So in this triangle, we'll call that as an exterior angle. And then let me extend this side like this. And let us say that the angles which the triangle form are X, Y, and Z. So these are the three exterior angles. What we're trying to say here is that sum of the measure of angle X plus Y plus Z is always equal to 360 degrees. Now it is actually very easy to prove it. Let me show you how. If I translate this particular line, move it right here, right? So I'm drawing a parallel line here so that this line is parallel to YZ, correct? In that case, what do you observe? You will notice that this angle Y is that angle, correct? We already know what angle X is. Let me highlight that also. Angle X is this angle. Now, if I translate another line, which is this one, then you can actually see that if you compare that position, then angle Z is basically equal to this. This is Z. Are you getting my point? Correct? So what you notice here is that the angle Y is that one. So we have angle X, Y, and Z. Now that forms a full circle, right? So we know a full circle makes how much? 360 degrees. So you can see for yourself that just by shifting a particular line of a triangle at a vertex other than where it crosses, third vertex, you can see that all angles add up to one full circle, and therefore the sum of exterior angles is 360 degrees. Now the sum of exterior angles of not only triangle, any polygon is 360 degrees. Now that is very important to understand. Any polygon. So you could actually do the same exercise and then you can prove it. Now let's look into the second, which we may call as a theorem, right? So these are also called theorems, since they are always true. Exterior angle is always equal to sum of remote interior angles. Why is it so? Well, let me sketch another triangle to prove it. Let's say we have a triangle here whose angles are interior angles are A and B. We want to see what this exterior angle X is, right? So this is the exterior angle. Let me call this angle, right? And these two here are remote interior angles. So if you look from this position, then when we say remote interior angles, we mean these two, away from it. So let us try to prove this also, right? So every theorem has a proof. So let's call this angle as, let's say, y. In that case, y is equal to 180 degrees minus sum of A and B, correct? Since sum of all three angles in a triangle is 180. We know that, right? We know that sum of all three interior angles in a triangle is 180 degrees, correct? So we are using this particular knowledge. We're writing y should be equal to 180 minus a plus b. Only then the sum will be 180, right? Okay. Now, second thing which you know is a straight line, right? A linear pair. So this is a straight line. A straight line always make, let me write down. What angle? 180 degrees, correct? So this angle is also 180. Perfect. So x plus y should also be 180. Now what should x be equal to? So x should be equal to 180 degrees. Take away y, right? Take away y, which is 180 degrees minus a plus b. Now when you open this bracket, 180 degrees minus 180 degrees becomes 0, and that minus makes this as positive. So what you get here is x equals to a plus b, correct? Is that clear? So I like you to do these missing steps and verify that the exterior angle is indeed equal to sum of these two interior angles. So I hope with that both these points are absolutely clear. Now let's take a few examples and practice some questions based on exterior angles and triangles. Now I will draw a few triangles and you need to calculate the exterior angle, okay? So this triangle, let's say this is one of the triangles. Then we have another triangle here. Okay, let's say like this. And let's give them angles to these triangles. Now here I'm saying that this angle here and that angle is 40 degrees and 50 degrees. You need to find the exterior angle x. In the second case, I'm taking an equilateral triangle. All sides are equal, and you have to find this exterior angle x. So basically, in the examples, you need to calculate the exterior angles from the given information. So let me draw two more triangles here. I'm taking isosceles triangle this time. That is to say that these two sides are equal and you have to find the exterior angle x. Let me give this angle here as, let's say, 20 degrees. You need to find what x is. Well, in all these drawings, they are not as per this scale, right? They are not as per the scale. Now let me draw a right triangle this time. Let's say that is the right triangle. And in this particular case, we are given an exterior. We need to find the exterior angle x. And let's say we are given this triangle angle as, let's say, 40 degrees. This is the right triangle. You need to find what is the exterior angle. So let this be our question number 1. Find x, the exterior angle. Now from the second theorem which you learned, which is exterior angle is sum of remote and interior angles, you could actually solve all these questions, correct? So let's do it. So in the first case, x should be equal to 40 plus 50, right? The drawing doesn't show that, but what we get here is 90 degrees. You know, it looks as if it is much more than 90 degrees, mainly because these angles are not 40 and 50, right? The drawings are not to the scale, right? Let me write down. They create confusion. You go as per rules. Now all equal angles means that it is equilateral triangle. All these angles are 60 degrees, right? So we could write x as 180 minus 60 degrees, which is 120 degrees. Perfect. You could also find x equals to 60 plus 60. Get the same result, 120 degrees. So that gives you a clear idea of just adding these two works, right? Now this one is easy. Let me write x equals to 90 plus 40. So we get 130 degrees. Here it is a bit tricky. We are given angle 20. How do we find the other angles? Since it is an isosceles triangle, we know, let's say these angles are A and this has to be A then, right? Both are A because isosceles triangle. So what we know here is that 2A plus 20 degrees is equals to 180 degrees. And if I take away 20 from here, I get 2A equals to 180 degrees minus 20, which is 160 degrees. So that gives us A as 160 degrees divided by 2, which is 80 degrees. So A is 80 degrees for us. Now you can write down what x is. So we get x equals to 80 degrees plus 20. That is 100 degrees. Do you see that? So if I gave you an isosceles triangle, you should know that two angles are going to be exactly same. You need to first find those two angles and then get the result. So I hope these steps are clear. Now let's take question number 2, where we'll analyze exterior angles with reference to other exterior angles. Here is the second question. You need to find exterior angle x. So I'll make few sketches for you. These are not as per the scale, but they should help you to get the right answer, right? So let's say we have a triangle whose some exterior angles are known to us, right? So let's say this angle here is around 150 degrees. And the angle here, let's take this angle, is, let us say, around 80 degrees. In that case, you need to find the angle x. Okay, so that is your first question. The second question for you is kind of like this. Very similar. Let's say we have a triangle which is of this type, in which we are given two interior angles. We need to find the value of x, and we are also given that these two sides are equal. So we actually give you one interior angle and let this angle be 15 degrees. Okay, let me make it, okay, that will cause difficulty. Let's make this 30 degrees for easier calculations. Okay, so we have this angle as 30 degrees. You need to find the exterior angle. We did this question earlier, right? So it's very similar to the previous question. Now, here is the third and the last question. Let us say we again have a triangle. This time I'm making a right triangle. You need to find the exterior angle X when you know that this angle here is 30 degrees. You can actually pause the video, answer this question, and then look into my suggestions. The first one, the sum of all these exterior angles should be 360 degrees, right? So we are going to use that, which is, let me write down, sum of all exterior angles is 360 degrees. So that is what we are going to use to answer the very first question. So that really means that X should be equal to 360 degrees, take away 150 degrees, and then take away 80 degrees, correct? So that's what it is. So let's calculate this. We have 360 minus 180, minus 150 minus 80. That gives us 130 degrees. So the answer is 130 degrees. So this value of X is 130 degrees, correct? Now question number 2 is kind of straightforward. I forgot to mention here, this is right triangle. So in this particular case, exterior angle is equal to sum of interior angles, right? So we are using the second rule, which is exterior angle is equal to sum of remote interior. Okay, so that means X is 90 degrees plus 30 degrees. So it should be 120 degrees. Perfect. Now the last question here is for you to do. We are given isosceles triangle. That really means that these two angles should be equal, right? So let us say these two angles are A. In that case, what should A be? Right? We know one angle is 30. So we know 180 degrees is equals to twice A plus 30. Correct? Three angles sum will be 180. So that means 180 degrees minus 30 is twice A. 150 degrees is twice A. So A is half of 150 degrees, which is 75 degrees. So A is 75 degrees. So both A's are 75 each. Now, X should be equal to sum of these two, right? So add them up. So what we get here is that X is equals to 30 degrees plus 75 degrees. Which gives us 105 degrees as the answer. Is that clear? So that is how you can actually solve exterior angle questions. I hope that makes sense. Let's take a few more questions now. Now here is a test question for you. I would like you to pause the video, copy the question, answer, and then look into my suggestions. The question is, find the sum of angle PQR. PQR is this angle, and PRQ, which is that angle, if QM equals to MR equals to PM. That is, QM is equal to MR. So this is a midpoint, is equals to PM. So these three sides are equal. Now you have to need to find sum of angle Q and R. You can actually pause the video, answer this question, and then check with my solution. You are given 4 choices: 70 degrees, 90 degrees, 180 degrees, and none of the above. Now to begin with, what we can do is we can just assume some angle A here, right? So if this is A and we have an isosceles triangle, then we know that angle R is equal to, this A, we have assumed this, right? Now this angle should be equal to angle RPM, right? RPM, since they are isosceles triangles. So this is also A, correct? So these two are same angles. Now what is angle PMQ? Now PMQ is an exterior angle. Let's call it X. It's an exterior angle. So PMQ, which is X, is equals to twice A plus A. You can add them up, right? Because sum of remote interior angles. Perfect. Now these two sides are equal. That really means that angle Q is also equal to this angle, correct? So let's call those angles as B. Let's call these angles as B. In that case, what is B equal to? In that case, what is B equal to? Then we can find what B plus A is. Is that clear, right? So in this triangle, so what we see here is that in the triangle QPM, what we have is that 2B plus X is equal to 180 degrees. Correct? 2B plus X is 180 degrees. X is 2A, right? So we could write this as 2B plus 2A equals to 180 degrees. What I did was I substituted X equals to 2A. Do you see that? Correct? So 2B plus 2A is 180 degrees. If I divide by 2, what do I get? So in this particular equation, look at it. If I divide by 2, then becomes B plus A equals to, I'm dividing everything by 2, 90 degrees. Does it make sense? Divide by 2. So what I'm doing now is divide by 2, right? So when you divide, that 2 cancels, this 2 cancels, 180 divided by 2 is 90 degrees. So we get our result that A plus B is 90 degrees. So the sum of these two angles is indeed 90 degrees. Does it make sense to you? Correct? So that is how you can prove it. But if you are given this question in multiple choice, what you can also do is you would actually take an example. Let us say if I put here some value, let's say if I put here 40 degrees, in that case this will be 40 degrees. That will be 40 plus 40, 80 degrees. Now this should be add to 100, right? So each will be how much? Each will be 50 degrees. And if you add 50 and 40, what do you get? When you add them, you get 90 degrees. So that is a faster way, quick way. So that is your tip. So quick way to do it is put some values and check for yourself. If you get some result which matches, then it's true. I hope that makes sense. I hope you enjoyed this learning process about exterior angles, concluding with an excellent example. Feel free to write your views and comments, and if you like and subscribe to my videos, that would be great. Thanks for watching and all the best.